So this evening we are here to celebrate innovation. And I am often asked how I define innovation. I want you to take a moment for yourself, for you to define innovation for how you see the world. Now, when I ask people around the world how they define innovation, I get a lot of different definitions. I will get definitions like, it's about creativity, it's about change, it's about doing something new, or problem solving. Now, I've thought about this for a long time, and I have a definition of innovation that I will tell you through a story. And it's a story that many of you may have heard, but I still think it is the best definition of innovation that is out there. And it's the story about these two men who are hiking on a bright sunny day. They have their backpacks on, they have their hiking boots on, and as they're hiking, they stumble across a hungry 600-pound grizzly bear. Clearly, they're a little nervous. Well, the first hiker, he sits down on the rocks, takes off his backpack, takes off his hiking boots, and puts on his running shoes. The second hiker looks at him and said, "What are you doing? You can't outrun a bear." The first hiker said, "I know, I only need to outrun you." This is the essence of innovation. Innovation is not just about new products, new processes, new projects, new services, new business models. It is actually being able to stay one step ahead of the competition so that you aren't eaten. Now, right now, the pace of change is really fast. And I always like to say that when the pace of change outside of your organization is faster than the pace of change within your organization, you're going to be out of business. I don't need to tell you how fast the pace of change and product life cycles are shortening. The introduction of new competition, new business models, these all threaten your business. So innovation isn't about one-time change, it's about repeatable and rapid change. It's about being able to innovate on an ongoing basis. Now, this requires you to be able to not just do incremental levels of improvement. So we do need to be able to develop adaptive solutions, building on ideas from the past. But we also need to develop solutions that are more breakthrough in nature. And there's a very interesting study done. They looked at 17,000 different patents. And of those 17,000 different patents, what they found was that the majority, the bulk of them, a large percentage of them, were incremental innovations. They were adaptations on previous patents. What they also found was that these particular innovations, the incremental innovations, were typically solved within the domain of expertise in which the problem was posed. So, for example, if they were working on a chemistry problem, a chemist found a solution. If it was a biology problem, a biologist would find the solution. If it was an aerodynamics problem, an aerodynamics engineer would be the one who found the solution. This is the way most innovations take place. But what they found was that the breakthrough solutions, the ones which really helped organizations get ahead, the ones that created by far the greatest value, were the ones which brought together multiple disciplines, brought together different perspectives. So instead of a chemistry problem being solved by a chemist, you had a chemistry problem being solved by a biologist. You'd have an aerospace problem being solved by somebody in Hollywood. And this is what they found, is they found that most of the breakthrough solutions came from cross-disciplinary work, bringing together with people with multiple perspectives. Here's the biggest problem that most people face. Expertise is the enemy of innovation. Expertise is the enemy of innovation. Let me explain this just very briefly, because here's the thing. When you aren't an expert in a particular topic, you are going to solve the problem through the lens in which you've always solved it. And your belief is that you can solve almost every problem. Now, the reality is these breakthrough solutions, as we've already found, come from connections. It is about connections. It's about connecting to something different than you would normally connect to. It's about looking at the world through a different lens. I want to give you three very simple examples. The first one is about gas pipelines. Gas pipelines run across the world. They move crude oil from one location to another. For example, the Alaskan pipeline travels thousands of miles, and this was built 35 years ago. And there's one problem that still exists in gas pipelines. They break, they crack, they leak, and it's very difficult for them to be able to find where these cracks took place. So they've been working on this problem now for decades, for many, many years. It seemed like it was an unsolvable problem. They tried various techniques. They would put pressure valves on various parts of the pipeline. And if they saw that the pressure dropped, it told them maybe there was a leak, and they would send somebody out to do a fix. They would pay pilots, as they're flying over the pipelines, they would pay them to visually inspect the pipelines to see whether or not there was oil coming out of the pipelines. One day, there was this Scottish engineer. He was working on this problem. He was moving a stack of papers from one desk to another, and he cut himself on the paper. He got a really bad paper cut, and he started to bleed all over the place. Now, for most people, this would be very upsetting. For him, this was a breakthrough. He made a connection. What he realized was that the capillaries, the blood vessels in his finger, are just like a gas pipeline. It moves a liquid. A gas pipeline moves gas, and his finger would move blood. The difference is his finger could actually seal itself. So he went to work on creating an inert coagulant ingredient that would go inside of gas pipelines. And when it detected a break or a crack, it would automatically seal it. And as it sealed it, it would send a radio signal back to central headquarters for somebody to go do a permanent fix. It would immediately fix the problem. This is a breakthrough solution that came from a connection, connecting the finger and the blood vessels to a gas pipeline. Now, there are some more practical applications of this concept. One has to do with toothpaste. I love this story. This one comes from Unilever, the consumer products giant. So they wanted to create a new kind of toothpaste. They wanted to create a toothpaste that would whiten teeth, yet it didn't use abrasives and it didn't use bleaches because that tends to be a little dangerous for the gums and for the enamel in your tooth. So they're working on this problem. They can't find a solution. They ask themselves a really important question. One of the most important questions, I think, in the world of innovation. The question is, who else has solved this problem? Who else has solved this problem? Well, what they realized was what they're trying to do is make something white whiter. And they realized over here they have a laundry detergent division. So they go over and they talk to the folks in the laundry detergent division, and they ask them, how do you make whites whiter? What they discovered was they don't. They actually make whites bluer. If you look at most laundry detergent, there's a blue dye in it, and this creates an optical illusion. It prevents the reflection of yellow light. So even though your clothes are still dingy yellow, they look really white. What did they do? They created a toothpaste that has a blue dye in it. And when you brush your teeth, it will instantly create the optical illusion of whiteness, even though your teeth aren't so white. One little warning. If you ever go to a party where it's really dark and they have those lights, the black lights, don't smile a lot because you will stand out in the crowd for sure. But again, this was a connection. It was a connection between making teeth white and making clothes white. And again, it's about connections. The last story that I want to tell you right now has to do with potato chips. A potato chip manufacturer wanted to be able to produce a low-fat potato chip that tasted exactly the same as regular potato chips. What they believed was the best way to do this was to cook the potato chips exactly the way they would do it, and then vibrate the potato chips to shake off the fat. So if you've ever had like French fries or potatoes and you pat them with a napkin to reduce the extra oil, well, they want to be able to do this same type of thing. So they wanted to shake the potato chips. So here's what they did. They cooked the potato chips in the deep fryer the way they always did. They put them on a conveyor belt, which would go towards the place where they put them in the bag. And they would shake the conveyor belt. And it worked. They saw the fat drip off. One problem. All the potatoes, by the time they got to the end, were crumbs. So what they wanted to do is find a way of vibrating something that is very fragile so that it doesn't break, but it would shake off the oil. For this, they used open innovation. And we heard earlier about open innovation. And what they did was they asked the question, how do we vibrate something that is fragile without breaking it? The solution didn't come from somebody with food production background. It didn't come from an engineer. The solution actually came from someone who was a musician. What this musician realized was that when he played his music, he could feel the bones in his body vibrate. And so he went home that night, he cooked up some potato chips, put them on a rack, put a loudspeaker over the potato chips, and he adjusted the frequencies and the volumes, and he could actually see the potato chips vibrate, he could see the fat drip off, yet none of the potato chips broke, making a connection. It was a connection between vibrating something gentle and music. Now, these connections are not always obvious, but this is really important because I think, and Steve Jobs would agree from Apple, that creativity is just having enough dots to connect. Creativity is just having enough dots to connect. Dots are ideas, dots are experiences, dots are expertise, and the reason why creative people are so is they've either had more experiences or they've thought more about those experiences. So creativity isn't about the dot, it's the space between the dot. It's not about your expertise in a particular discipline, it's the connection, that space that exists between them. And so I think it's extremely fitting that we're here today at this beautiful innovation center, which is a space for playing in the space. It is a space for being able to make connections. It is a chance to look at new technologies and make a connection to something that you're working on. It's a chance to bring together people from different disciplines, bring together people from different companies, bring together people from different industries, and look at the world from a different perspective. We're all experts, but this is a chance to take your expertise and connect it with someone else's expertise and create something new. And this is a fantastic opportunity that we have right here. I want to leave you with one last thing. Now, this is not from the world of business, but it's something visual, and I like visual things because I think it helps us a little bit. This is a bird from Australia called the cassowary. I had the great, couple of years ago, I went on a vacation to northeastern Australia in the Daintree rainforest. Anybody been to the Daintree rainforest in Australia? It's a beautiful place. Inside the rainforest, there is this bird, and this bird is called the cassowary. It's a slightly violent bird, but it's a slow bird, and it has the bad habit of getting run over in the rainforest. So throughout the rainforest, you will see these signs. This is a picture I took. On the bottom is an image of the cassowary bird. On the top is a speed bump, and right next to it would be a speed bump. Now, this is not actually the picture that I took. I photoshopped this. This is the picture I took. For those of you who can't see it, the bottom is the before, the top is the after. This is about creating connections. It is about playing in the space between ideas. It's about making connections to new technology, new people, and new perspectives. And that's what this space is about. So I want to go back to the story I told at the very beginning with the two hikers and the bear. This, to me, is the essence of innovation. It is about change. It's about being able to adapt. And as I like to say, when the pace of change outside your organization is faster than the pace of change inside your organization, you will be eaten. So with that, I want to encourage everybody, when this is over, to really start making connections, because that will accelerate your pace of change and give you new breakthrough solutions. Thank you.